Hello and welcome to the Ramon Foster Show, starring the one and only Ramon Foster, brought to you every weekday by the Get-Go Cafe and Market, where they're open 24/7 serving hot, fresh food. Mon, happy Thursday, man.
Happy Thursday, man. Welcome to the show again. I have second Mondays, and you know what today is?
First Friday.
Pre-Friday.
Pre-Friday. I almost had it.
Yeah, pre-Friday, man. We got to embrace these days. That's what gets you over the hump, the push to the finish. Like, that's where I'm at. Always mind games up here.
See, I just think of Thursdays as coordinator Thursdays because in our world, that's the day that we get the coordinators over on the South Side, you know?
Grudgingly, too. They be over there like, oh, I got to go.
No, they're delighted. They're delighted. Well, actually, Keith Butler was happy to talk to us all day long.
Yeah, Todd Haley was pretty good at it too. I couldn't imagine what Bruce Arians was like. I didn't pay attention to it.
Bruce was fun. Let's just say that Matt Canada would rather be spending every single Thursday in the dentist chair than he would answering our questions. Mon, let's have some fun today. We're going to do something a little bit off the beaten path here.
All right.
And I've never asked you this. And I don't know what your answer is going to be even now. But what would you consider to have been your greatest moment as an NFL player? Moment, emphasis here. Not like achievement or this or that or I made it or whatever, but your greatest moment as an NFL player. Totally putting you on the spot here.
Greatest moment, golly. I legitimately hadn't thought about this, man. I would, and like you said, we'll have some fun with it, but this one is very different. If I can think of one moment, of course, I can go to the game and I can be like, winning the Jets, going to the Super Bowl. I think that's the most obvious pick. I could say, like, it's two really that comes to mind to me, and like moments. It would be making the opening day roster as an undrafted free agent. I remember
I knew you were going to say that.
I did. Is that one because being what I thought the lowest guy on the totem pole, or one of the lowest guys on the totem pole, although they told me they had a third, fourth round grade on me, and they showed me that they did.
Yep.
And they showed me that they did. That actually achieving that goal. And another one was seeing young guys that I kind of brought under my wing, or under our wing, because the five of us, six of us, seven of us, depending on how far you go back, with Beecham being one of those dudes, getting second contracts, because a lot of the stuff that we taught them, they inherited it, processed it, and redistributed it out on the playing field. Beecham is a guy that comes to mind. Chris Hubbard is a guy that comes to mind. Even watching a guy like Zach Banner get a second deal. Watching what Chuks Okorafor is going through right now, being a guy. BJ Finney. I think those moments to me, because I've always been a type, I've appreciated what the game has afforded me. Kind of, like, man, I appreciate the job. So much so that I poured back into other guys. We poured back into other guys. So to see them take that and move to a different locker room or get their second deal, those moments were awesome as hell for me, man. Like, it's almost like watching little brother, like finally dunk. You know what I'm saying? Or watching, it's one of those little things, man, where it's like, yeah, you are part of the show now. Like, you are in the game, not only just surviving, but man, they thought enough of you to give you another contract. And I'll never forget just being so absent-minded on what the NFL was. Like, legitimately, I had no idea what it was. I know what football was, but my wife even tells me to this day, like, she didn't know that you could get cut every single day.
Oh, yeah. No guarantees.
No guarantees. And then the way we lived about, making the team is like, yeah, you're on the team. But at any one in time, I saw people getting cut left and right, left and right, left and right. And the change over year after year. So the appreciation of what that first year did for me, I think speaks. That's the one moment in which I won't ever let down, like ever pass by at all. And not only that, having at the time those old Hall of Fame veterans or, Steelers Wall of Fame guys come up to me after having a good day at camp and be like, young fella, that's how they would talk to you, young fella, you could play in this league. And those were the moments for me that did it. And as you can tell, I'm a very appreciative person, man, if that's a correct phrase to use.
Oh no,
But
I've seen Mel Blount walk around with the cowboy hat, and it
yeah,
is a striking scene.
yeah,
When he
it's
walks up to a current player, they melt in the man's presence,
yeah.
and they probably should.
And they should, and I did. I was one of those guys, and even so,
Mm-hmm.
facing Brett Kiesel and Casey and Kursky and I can Hokey, all of those dudes, Nick Eason, like they dogged me. But of course, at the time, and they be like, "Young fella, you can play, keep fighting." Like those moments to me mean more than almost any other thing. Of course, being able to win a ring or playing in the Super Bowl, always that's the most obvious. But those for me, watching me pour back into the young guys, them getting their just due, and those moments, I think, are the
Yeah,
purest.
but I'm still gonna stick you here.
What's up?
I
Talk to me.
want a moment on the football field. And if it
Oh,
sounds like I'm
I know I got
chasing
it.
something that I've got in mind, I'm going to throw mine out first, even though my vote obviously
Go
doesn't
ahead.
count here. But when AB handed you the football
Ha.
in the end zone, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Okay, and it was
yeah.
at Heinz Field, and there's 73 at the end of the end zone going, pow! We've got pictures of it too.
Yeah,
That really jumps out at me
it
because
does.
that was a moment where those rare instances where an offensive lineman can be celebrated by
Hmm.
the crowd.
But you
Where
know what?
go ahead.
We got to a point to where that became a cool thing. I think that was
Yes.
this takeoff of like offensive linemen getting some TV time and being celebrated as, oh, y'all are important too. We're not
Mm-hmm.
just the guy that protects the quarterback and go to the line of scrimmage. Like, nah, AB made us a part of that. Juju made us a part of that. Le'Veon made us a part of that. Ben made us a part of that celebration because we were good and important in our minds for sure, because we had to think that, but they embraced us. Like AB was looking around like, Mon,
He was.
here,
He found you. Yeah,
he
I remember
found
it.
me. And to have that moment, and people, of course, from my hometown, proud of me being on TV, crashing the Sunday night TV camera. That was cool, man. And the other one was being coached under Munch. And there's this picture I have in my house where I pull around the corner, which I didn't do a whole lot of, and CJ Mosley was right there. And to have Munch the next day in meetings be like, Mon, that's a pull. That's a hit right there. I cleaned him up, just same foot, same shoulder, come up through
R.I.P.
him.
C.J. Mosley.
Woo! Let me tell you, that's a picture. And I got another one with like Ashawn Robinson too. I'm standing over him, like pancaking him. So real cool.
For people who wouldn't know this, and I would imagine it's most everyone, but outside the Steelers locker room on the south side, there are framed photographs in the hallway, and they're all from the previous week's game.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how the staff organizes this, and that's how diligent they are. They all change every week, and each one of those photos is emblematic of something that happened. Even after losses, they're going to find positives, and they put them on the wall so that everyone there's no other way to navigate that area without going down that hallway, including for us as reporters. Obviously, I wouldn't be describing it for you. But it's an amazing bit of recognition, isn't it?
It is. And to have Munch be like, Mon, that's probably he said it's probably one of the best pulls he's ever seen, playing or coaching.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
And this is on a franchise that's had a couple of pretty notable pulls.
And from a Hall of Famer that's cleaned some people up. Yeah, that was cool.
When we come back, we're going to take the opposite tack on this. We're going to talk about the lowest moment. Of course, that segment's going to be a little shorter because we're generally a happy crew here. Welcome back to the Ramon Foster Show, and we just went over Ramon's greatest moments, the ones that he enjoyed the most through his NFL career. I'm going to take it to the other extreme here and talk about the lowest moment with a qualifier here. And that would be eliminating the Ryan Shazier injury because that's the lowest of the low that I as a writer that I've experienced. Somebody says, "What's the worst thing you ever witnessed?" I mean, there's that, and then there's nowhere else to even go with it. So let's just so no one thinks it's insensitive. What do you mean? What about the Shazier injury? Well, of course that was the lowest.
Of
But
course.
what would you have, Mon? What would you have as like the most down moment?
Probably it's two. It's a few I can tell you about. For me personally, it was that day we're playing Baltimore. Haloti Ngata comes over me, beat me, and breaks Ben's nose.
Oh.
I thought my career was over. It was done with. And Ben smoothed it. He smoothed it over so well. He was like, no, it was he was like, man, sacks happen. He was like, it's fine. He was like, man, that joker came underneath my helmet and punched my nose. He was like, that was a sack, but that wasn't your fault. My nose was broken. Like he took all of the blunt of that instead of, Mo, you got to do better. Like, and I was a young guy at the time, trying to figure out how to block this all pro, should be Hall of Fame type defensive tackle.
Monster. There was a point in his career where Haloti Ngata was a monster down there.
So big, so balanced, just a supreme athlete to where there was nothing I could do on that play other than just hold on for the ride. And I tried, but his fist, mine, I have a big hand. His might have been a little bit wider than mine, okay? And he got me, which everybody gets got. I'll always acknowledge that. I got, and he came underneath Ben's helmet. You can see him kind of come underneath it, to try to get a little extra. Because why? It's Baltimore, Pittsburgh. What else do you expect? But that was probably one of my lows where I was like, yeah, my career's done, y'all. It's been fun. I don't know if it's done, but I'm probably on my way out of Pittsburgh. But man, Ben was a sport about it. Like I said, he took the charge. Like, no, that's it's a sack, but my nose is, because of him. And I was like, I don't know. The other one was after, what was it? The 2018 season, I think. Towards the tail end of it. I knew, honestly, when everything happened in New Orleans, the Saints game and all that, I kind of figured like,
so right.
Yeah.
You guys never looked better than Antonio Brown specifically. Yeah. I don't know that he ever had a better game as a Pittsburgh Steeler than what he did in the Superdome down there.
He owned that field that day.
Unbelievable. But it wasn't just him. It was all of you guys because everything was moving for that offense. It was just like this. It was like you guys had just been building up to play that one game and didn't win it.
Because everything rolled on that game, though. I think as far as positioning, getting to the playoffs, there was a lot that went into that game that weekend. And I never get, by far one of the biggest, I felt like every series was a battle. It wasn't like, oh, yeah, we got y'all that series. No.
They were good defensively.
Every series was a battle against them, man. And you know what happened after that? The team pretty much broke at that point. Yeah. And I'll never forget us trying to figure out what the freak is going on. It was so quiet, so eerie, so friggin' just, it was weird after that. And to a man, I think most people was like, yep, this is probably where everybody checks their ticket in. Now, of course, the mindset of Pittsburgh is every year is the Super Bowl year. So we played out 19 and it wasn't the year that we wanted and whatnot. But I think after 18, it was like, yeah, man, I think it's time to, that ship, that was the window. It closed right then and there. The realization of that. And the other one was, honestly, man, watching as a young guy, and I ain't really understand what had happened, but watching one of my teammates at the time not lose his mind, but kind of something triggered in him to where he just had to check out. And the Steelers did a really good job of getting him some mental help and watching him just trying to move himself into a different pattern, a different world so that he was at ease mentally. And I don't think it was necessarily football that kind of, did that to him. I think the pressure of playing the game kind of onset some issues that he had already had. And to see that on the forefront in real time was real, just like, football is life sometimes to a lot of people, but it can't be your life, and watching him go through what he did, I was of like, wow. I never saw a young person go through something like that mentally.
I'm not in a position to either correct you or amend you on a personal list like this, but I do feel comfortable sharing with everyone that I never saw you and never communicated with you at any lower point than in Denver.
Yeah.
And I can't believe you left it out.
Yeah.
I still have not covered a locker room in any sport.
Yeah.
And in my entire career that was more down than the fumble game in Denver. And you were mad and you were saying stuff. I don't want to put you on the spot here.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
You were saying stuff even about a couple of teammates that you never say. Because you wanted this so bad and it was sitting there. This game was sitting there to be had, and you're going right down the field,
Yeah.
And you're over there with your bank of guys, and it was not good.
Yeah, we had that, like, our era had the highest highs and some of the lowest lows. Now that you bring that up simply because, and the reason I don't think that resonates as much, I think, of course, you talk about the Tim Tebow Hail Mary pass. That could be a different thing too. But with that,
lots
Denver,
of fun out there. Yeah,
a lot of screw Denver. But with that one, even the next year, I still felt we got a shot though.
Yeah.
I didn't think the door had closed in Denver.
Oh.
That was very much wide open.
Yeah,
so that's why it pierces my soul as much. I hated that moment. I hated the Peyton Manning slide. He gave himself up.
He sure did.
He 100% did. And because of that, I'm just like, all right, we'll get him next year. So that one doesn't pierce the soul as much.
Yeah. Maybe it did for other guys in that room too, because I remember almost a half hour after the game, James Harrison sitting. You know how that room was divided, the way the Broncos have it split up. You couldn't see Harrison. He's on the other side of that bank, and I went over there. This was about a half hour after the game, and it was just him.
Yeah,
sitting there like this at his stall. And I actually went up to him and asked him something, which was, by the way, like gutsiest moment of my
gutsy.
career.
Yeah, 100%.
You like that? No, he was cool about it. He was a pro. When we come back, happier stuff. We're gonna go back to happier stuff. The Hey Mon subject is next. Welcome back to the Ramon Foster Show. This is the good part. This is the Hey Mon segment. And today's entry comes from Aaron Calderon, who says, Hey Mon, what are your thoughts on Bobby Wagner or Jordan Hicks? We need us some inside linebacker help. Might as well start with Bobby Wagner, right?
Bobby Wagner, man.
Goodness.
What is he? 7-time first team All-Pro and 8-time Pro Bowler.
Did you see Cam Hayward's tweet when the Seahawks released him? It was just one word. One word, just, huh?
Huh? That's the same thing I thought. Bobby Wagner's he's a friggin' corner piece of that organization, man. And not only that, his reputation. There's a 7-time first team All-Pro. Pro Bowl is cool. That's the show.
Oh, All-Pro is another level. Yeah.
All-Pro is you're the best. Two of the best in the world. He's got 7 of them. He's also got so guys to me that make Hall of Fame, I think you rule an era. An era in football to me is like 3 to 4 years. If you make 3 or 4 All-Pros, you're probably going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yep,
or you're at least
you're
at least going into your circle of fame at the stadiums and at the buildings and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Bobby Wagner has 7 of them.
Yeah, he's in the discussion.
Ballot.
He has to be in the discussion. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if he's walk and go jacket, but he's getting in at some point at middle linebacker. That guy's a beast, man. Jordan Hicks, on the other hand, a lot of just reps at the linebacker position. He's been on multiple teams, so he can adjust to being in a different place. That's one thing I like about him. What was his last team? Arizona. High volume guy. His best ability is availability. He's always been there, and gets a whole lot of reps, man. Honestly, you can't go wrong with either one. It's a matter of scheme and fit for guys like this. I've seen Bobby Wagner run across the field and make plays and be Johnny on the spot in inopportune positions, okay? Just bad position, he's making the plays. Jordan Hicks is one of the same thing. Athletic type guy that can run side to side. You can't go wrong with either one. If you heard me give my spiel about one or the other, I think I'd pick the first as far as saying
so, yeah.
Bobby Wagner is the guy. But again, it comes down to him. What's the ticket? How much is it going to cost you to play ball?
Yeah, that's the thing is when we start getting into cost here, it's a different discussion because, with Devin Bush, we talked about him earlier in the week in the show. I don't think they're going to be picking up any kind of, $10.98 million fifth-year option on him. I think you have to negotiate something.
But when you're going to get these veteran guys, so how many years are you going to get them for? Yeah. Now, the most ideal middle linebacker signing I think Pittsburgh has ever had and almost any team's ever had also. If you can find you a James Ferrier.
Yeah.
Potsy.
Best free agent signing.
That's got to be.
Yeah.
If you can get one of them and then have him extend himself, I don't think people realize how he transformed himself too. He went from a bigger, bulkier linebacker to he slimmed up to like 220, maybe less than that. As far as to stick around and play that position,
and also drop, he learned how to drop. He wasn't great at it. I don't think there was ever a point in his career that he was great at it, but he found a way to do it.
He could do it. He did. The only person that probably we're chasing the ghost of Ryan Shazier for what? How many years is this now? 6?
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. It never ends.
And I think we honestly might have to get to a point to where we change that standard, and that's a hard ask. I think that's why
it is because he was ahead of his time, Mon. At the time when the Steelers drafted him, you remember when Shazy came in for his first camp, and we all looked at him and said, "Oh, hey, there's a safety."
Yeah. You want to hear what's so interesting? When you mentioned he's ahead of his time, I was talking to a high school coach here, the enemy, by the way, when I mentioned his name, Trent Dilfer. He coaches at a high school here at Lipscomb Academy in Nashville, Tennessee. They have developed a monstrous team. And when we went to dinner last week, he said to me, man, at the linebacker position, I got this kid that's 6'3", 185, and he's getting worked right now. But you know what? By the time he's a junior and senior, he's going to be the best thing in this world. And I was thinking to myself, like Ryan Shazier. And he explained to me why he was doing it. He was like, exactly. He even said exactly with Ryan. And he said, you know why? Because the way this league is switching up and changing with these quarterback throwing RPOs, you need a slender, long type of linebacker to disrupt those passes. And I was like, Ryan Shazier was ahead of his time.
Oh,
and
way
I
ahead.
hate we couldn't get all that. If you've never seen Ryan, he looks like the guy from 300, Xerxes. Honestly, tell me I'm lying. Long, lean,
pretty good,
ball-headed. He's Xerxes, right? If that's the correct character I'm thinking of. But that's what they're looking for. It's like, yeah, the kid's going to get beat up his freshman, sophomore year. But by the time we put some weight on him and he's 210, 215, he's going to be a 5-star athlete, and every college in this world is going to be looking for him. And he's going to be the prototype linebacker. Forget I hate to say it, 5'10", 225 linebacker. No, they're going for the 6'3", 6'4", sometimes even slender, long linebacker type.
Yeah, and well, not to start burying Devin Bush all over again, but that was also part of why I found that whole thing to be, because he's not that. He's a little guy. But
he has speed.
He has a lot of speed. And when he was on as a rookie, in fairness, he eliminated the screen pass. He eliminated a lot of the side-to-side for teams because of his ability to go sideline to sideline, and he just needs that to get that explosiveness back. But even if he does, you're still missing another inside linebacker. And for all the fuss everybody has, Mon, about quarterback and this and that here, I still keep looking at that position.
It's the defensive quarterback position. So to answer the Hey Mon question, I'm going to go out on that. I love Bobby Wagner, but I don't know of what the ticket's going to look like.
Yeah, that's the big question. We will have one more of these Ramon Foster shows tomorrow. to close out the week. Thanks to everybody for watching this. A good one, Mon. This was good. You're like good at this.
Every once in a while, I do something right.